How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new Stargirl Season 3, Episode 3 breakdown titled The Blackmail. And today's episode was pretty straightforward again, albeit as per this murder mystery, we get quite a development at the end. We finally saw a little bit more action as well. Starman continuing to be quite a bit more reckless, I guess you could say. But also, I have a couple of theories that I want to propose to you guys. And of course, given that this murder mystery is very much so continuing on for quite a while, I need to know yours down in the comments as well. So go ahead and like this video if you do go on to enjoy it. It helps these Stargirl videos out. They're not doing as well this year, but I'm noticing that across quite a few channels. I tweeted about this, and I feel like we're all coming to the conclusion that Season 3 just really wasn't marketed. I heard apparently at a recent convention, people there who attended said, when is Stargirl Season 3 coming out? And it had already been released. So I remember saying this leading up to the release of Stargirl, wondering about trailers. Yes, we got a teaser and then a trailer, but like usually there's a little bit more. And I was just like, why isn't this being advertised? And I genuinely feel that a lot of people don't really know it's on as much this year. And that's not even out of denial, by the way, in terms of like all those people who watched Season 2 just suddenly haven't come on to Season 3. If anything, a lot of people would come to Season 3 at the premiere just to see what it's about. But something's a little bit different this year. So would appreciate that like, sharing the video for those who might not even know if it's out yet. But let's start right at the beginning, and that's when we have Starman on Main Street, and he bumps into Yolanda at the diner. And this was quite nice for Yolanda's character because she's always wanted that validation with regards to Ted Grant, the former Wildcat, and Starman says that he'd view her as a bit of a badass, but also he probably likes giving Yolanda this comment at the same time because at the moment these two are quite similar with regards to how Starman doesn't remotely trust the Crocs, the fellow ISA members, Dragon King's daughter Cindy, and we know that Yolanda, as well as Rick, to be honest, are pretty much guilty until proven innocent. Everyone wants to charge in, and this seemed to be an episode all about that. But also this episode, continuing on from a little bit of a plot thread last week, we need Starman finding himself outside of being Starman. So who is Sylvester? So he tried to get to know Blue Valley a little bit better in present day. He was looking for jobs this episode, and I don't know about you guys, I like Starman on this show, but I do feel like the acting this episode was, you know, a little bit off from time to time, mainly just the line delivery. The scene that comes to mind most is when they were at the pit stop and Zeke was there and they were talking about, you know, who am I really, you know, outside Starman, you know, I'm not nobody. It's just the way the lines are delivered are very kind of, I don't really know how to explain it, like, you know, walking down the yellow brick road, gingerbread house kind of, yeah, you know, Blue Valley. It's just a bit, I'm used to that with Pat, but I feel like Pat's very charming. And overall this season is very goofy. They're really heavily relying on that goofy vibe, which is a deliberate choice because you can clearly tell each episode at the minute, I swear, it started off with music and even like the score in the background, even though this has been present in previous seasons, has been a bit uppity at times, which does fit the show's tone. All I'm saying is that this season, it has kind of boosted up. Maybe the dial has been turned up a little bit too much in my mind, you know, because it brings to mind the Paula stuff. You know, we cut to a Barbara scene and all of a sudden Paula's there. You know, everything's a bit more quirky. But at the same time, it's a good thing that it's not as polarizing as, for example, how The Flash Season 3, which was a dark season, as we all know, like Stargirl Season 2 was quite a dark season. So The Flash Season 4 was like, whoa, what the heck happened with that massive tonal change? At least with Stargirl, I do acknowledge that it blends a bit better, and it's probably a similar thing to The Flash. You know, in Season 3 it's quite dark, Stargirl Season 2, Eclipso quite dark, so they want to kind of flip on its head, albeit it's a murder mystery, they change the tone as a result. But yeah, I don't know if any of you are vibing that with these episodes. I still find lots about it quite charming, I still really enjoy the cast, still super interested in Hourman, Icicle Jr., especially with the developments this episode, the murderer, and things like that. But there's also this kind of other thing that I'm sensing with these first 3 episodes, which you know, it is maybe a little bit too much. I think that guy Tim at Barbara's work also just frickin' sums it up. In other news, we have Cindy being the one to send those files to Beth. This puts a bit of doubt on Courtney and her perspective of Gambler, because she really thought he was trying to change. Turns out by the end of the episode he actually was, and it turned out to be kind of a big rabbit hole that I think we all knew it wasn't going to be anything too sinister with the Crocs. That was fairly predictable there. But Cindy also, in a predictable way, is just desperately trying to help out with this case, even going behind the scenes of the JSA to try and solve it, or be the one holding the trophy or the demon's head, so to speak, so she can be the one to prove herself and, you know, get the seal of approval from, I think, probably whom she wants it most from is someone like Yolanda. And wait, did we ever get an answer for what that little potion thing she took was? I may be having a brain fart right now, but like, I don't know if that has been revealed. Let me know down in the comments below. Maybe it's gonna be revealed. That's what's making her a little bit toned down this season, because that was an original theory going back quite a few months now from when we saw that in the trailer. And she does seem amenable to whenever Courtney's just like, you do that again, you're off the team, or, you know, this, that, and the other. And she's like, got it, you know, got it. She's also trying to access Dragon King's file on the Gambler's laptop. She still couldn't access this by the end of the episode, so obviously whatever is in that file is going to be something important to Cindy that will be revealed in an episode later on. It could be a document of all of the experimentations he's done, including her, maybe some things that she wants to maybe reverse, or there could be something in there that none of us are expecting at all, something like really revelationary that she finds out. So we do have quite a bit of tension with Cameron this episode, and I do feel a bit bad for him, because initially he kind of blanks Courtney, and then he, you know, gets a bit frustrated with the teacher, and that was quite a cool scene when we had Rick come in and they really butt heads in that moment. Rick was saying don't be a jerk. Rick doesn't really have any tolerance for anyone who's a bit shady, or for example is the son of Jordan Marquand, similar to Yolanda here. But the reason why I feel a bit of empathy for Jordan is because clearly with his powers coming in, he is getting some kind of, I don't know, freaking hormone imbalance, chemical imbalance, something like that, which is making him aggravated, or like he is very irritable, even if he doesn't want to be, so he might snap. We see in the promo for next episode that a little bit of frustration leads into a little bit of a power blast, if you know what I mean. So I don't think this truly is the Cameron Marquand that we've known, the nice guy from previous seasons. It's just the powers that are coming in are making him a little bit more edgy, and he's obviously aware of it, which is why he apologized. But still, it's like when you're a part of that Icicle family, that is one of the kind of burdens you might have to deal with, and that is this kind of ice cold temperature that could explode, I suppose, at any minute. And it kind of did, because he put an icicle straight in Rick's tire after that. But also, one thing that I was wondering this episode is that we never truly saw the conversation that he had with his grandparents. So I do wonder, even though I kind of walked back on it as I was watching this episode, when he first blanked Courtney, I was thinking, well, did his grandparents tell him about the new JSA, how Courtney is Stargirl, and how Mike had something to do with killing his dad, and how Courtney's been keeping this from him? Then as things progressed, then they went on that walk later on in the episode, and he seemed to indulge her, but like at the same time he couldn't quite hold her hand because he was worried about probably freezing her hand off. It kind of made me think, well, maybe he doesn't know. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Cameron Marquand does know now. He's working through it as well as working through his powers coming through, but he doesn't necessarily blame Courtney for what happened with his father, the ISA. Maybe he's put it all into context. I mean, that would require a bit of understanding, but at the same time, maybe not, because your father was pretty crazy. But this is going down a bit of a rabbit hole now. Would love your expansion on this down in the comments. So then we obviously got that part with Starman. You know, Cindy came to the door doing what she's not supposed to do, but as we kind of briefly discussed, she wanted to do it to get Starman's seal of approval. So she said that the Crocs were being blackmailed by the Gambler, which could give them a motive for murder. So this is when Sylvester goes straight out to deal with them. And I don't know, man, I don't really like this. I'm not gonna lie. There's certainly cool parts to it. and I do like Starman in this show overall, but his impulsiveness is just crazy. It kind of makes me think that how were you ever a hero of the JSA back in the day and ever get anything done? Was it always guilty until proven innocent? Because I know some fans are going to come in and say, well, he's lost, he doesn't know who he is without Starman. Maybe this is one of the residual effects from coming back from the dead. I can't disprove that properly, but going off the evidence that we do have with how he always used to be a dick to Pat in those flashbacks, and this episode when he has a complete yelling match at him, calling him a sidekick and whatnot, once again, it makes me think, no, this is how he's always been. So again, I don't know how he ever got anything done. I mean, sure, you can save someone from, I don't know, like a burning fire with the cosmic staff and fly them out, but if you ever came up against proper villains who might not have done anything wrong, or they're, you know, sometimes situations aren't as black and white as what they seem, and to be a superhero like Starman, to just race in like this, you hear that the Crocs were being blackmailed to go and basically get to the point of trying to kill them with cosmic rays and blasts from the staff in a grocery store full of people who are running around, possibly endangering lives. I don't dig it. I think it's just, I know some people are, as I've already said, gonna come back and be like, Bobby, you just don't get it. I think I do. I don't know. I was a fan of the fight, by the way. I think some of the rope work in Stargirl, you know, when they get dragged along, sometimes seems a bit too evident that somebody is pulling them on the stunt wires. But other than that, this was some of that good action, top tier Stargirl choreography that I do enjoy. They do put a lot of effort into their choreography and fight scenes here. But I just have to say, I know the point is that we're not really meant to enjoy Starman just going out like this and just jumping the gun, but it kind of means larger repercussions for me as a character and a hero, even back to the JSA days, as per what I've aforementioned. And there was just a couple of moments in there when, you know, Tigress Paula was just chokeholding Starman, Sylvester, and he was just like, let me go. Why would she let you go? You're trying to murder her. You're putting civilians' lives at risk. It's just, I just felt like saying, shut up, man. If anything, he comes across way more inexperienced than even the current JSA. I can't say that for everyone, because kind of Yolanda and Rick, especially Rick, he usually runs into things without thinking. But Starman should have a little bit more wisdom there. And so the fallout from this is that the Crocs explain their situation. They were being blackmailed initially, and they also addressed the prison thing here. They were like, we wouldn't be sitting here with our freedom if it wasn't for a legal loophole. What legal loophole? I kind of half respect the show for actually having the balls to address that, because a lot of us were like, why aren't the Crocs in prison? But sometimes when you don't give a decent enough explanation, it's like, okay, well, now I'm asking more questions. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there, because a lot of shows out there don't even want to give you explanations with things as big as the Crocs escape prison or whatever. They've bought a house. How did they even manage to do that? Why aren't they being arrested, etc., etc.? And normally you don't get explanations. Not all the time, but hey, this show tried to. Legal loophole. This is when we get that shouting match between Starman and Pat. And again, I do know that, and I don't want people to forget that with my criticism here, that I do acknowledge that Sylvester's come back from the dead. I assume the time gap for him is just like a day or a week or two since his friends in the JSA died. So to see Crocs move next door and whatnot, and the shade. But by this point, we've had many conversations, many moments where he's not happy with it, but he understands that, you know, this is the way it is. But so I do still argue that there is some valid criticism there for the way he acted this episode. It's just kind of a bit way too impulsive, in my opinion. Starman talks about not having a suit, but Pat's like, it's not the suit that makes a man, but it's a start. And good old Pat, like MVP, that gives him the idea of stitching the suit a little bit later. So, you know, it's funny how we've got a show about Stargirl kind of becoming Stargirl and operating as Stargirl, but if anything this season as well, this is what I mean with how he's like an inexperienced hero with the way he's acting. He is now getting his suit again, maybe an upgrade actually. That I would love your ideas to, if you think he could get a subtle upgrade, changing design of the Starman suit, but he is kind of figuring himself out as well, not only as literally trying to figure out what to do outside of Starman, but he needs to figure himself out as to how to operate as Starman as well. And so towards the end of the episode now, we have Starman wanting to be a bit of a better Starman, so he decides to go out without the cosmic staff. Gotta respect the rules. We get the CCTV screens, and this time we zoom out and we get a little bit of a figure watching over them. Black coat, black gloves, and a little bit of a slight growling. Now, I think that was put in there to make you think that this figure is the murderer. He saw Sylvester go to the trailer, and now he's like, right, I'm gonna go mess him up, right? Or maybe even try to kill him. But I think it could be Mr. Bones, and I don't necessarily think that this person, whether it's Mr. Bones or not, is the same person who killed Gambler and attempted to kill or whatever he tried to do to Sylvester at the end of this episode. I think they're trying to make us think that, but I think it could be the situation of whoever this person is watching the CCTV, if that is Mr. Bones, because it seems to, I can't really tell, obviously, but it's a similar attire, a little bit from what we can tell of Mr. Bones at the end of last season. Then maybe he instructed this big-ass monster growling person to go and try and kill Sylvester, and that's exactly what happened. We had this giant-ass kind of shadow appear from behind Sylvester. They added sound effects of heavy footprints. There was a massive Solomon Grundy-esque roar as well, which is interesting. And I do wonder, by the way, I'm not saying this is the case. They're saying that, well, it's not Grundy. I tried burying him, blah, blah, blah. But did Rick ever actually try and dig up Grundy and try and bury him somewhere else recently? We know he went to check the grave and see if he'd come back, as per the Shade's advice, but I don't think he's tried burying him again. So I do want to lay the theory out on the table. What if Mr. Bones, not only having brought Starman back, which is one of the theories, but was also successful in bringing Grundy back? And the way the show is selling it to us, and with Rick's reassurance here and how it's not Grundy, I tried burying him and he still hasn't come back yet. Well, he hasn't actually. What if Mr. Bones dug it up but put the dirt back there and Grundy's out there as his little murdering tool? Would explain the damage to the trailer. Could be wrong. Could be another DC Comics character, a part of Helix, and whatever reveals are to come with Mr. Bones. I don't think, by the way, that Starman is dead. I think he's just very messed up, but at the same time, I do want to question that. Was that the intent? Because this person could clearly easily kill Starman. If he is alive, why didn't he kill Starman? Because he's very capable of doing it. I'm sure that when Sylvester comes to, he'll be like, I can't really remember anything because I was knocked on my head so hard. But let me know what you think of that. Do you think the same person watching the CCTV was the same person who flew Sylvester up into the air and then dropped him down on the trailer and basically almost killed him? Or do you agree with me, not that I have a lot of conviction in this theory, but that could have been Mr. Bones, and then he then instructed his monster, whoever this murderer is, to go to the trailer and try and kill Starman? And how, the third theory here, that could be Grundy, while everyone thinks that Rick's been trying to bring him back and he's still down there, but maybe he actually isn't. Because don't forget, Mr. Bones has had CCTV everywhere, on Rick as well. So he may very well be like, oh, I could use that guy, I could bring him back. Because the fourth theory here is, because I also brought Starman back as well, I can clearly bring people back. But I don't know. That ends the video, I believe. I thought this episode was, you know, it's part of the course so far for this season. I'm still enjoying it. There's a few things that are rubbing me a little bit the wrong way, but not massively so. I've not got sore skin or anything like that, so to speak. It's just what I kind of voiced earlier, but they're not major gripes. It does feel as though Stargirl has a little bit of a tonal change this season. It's always been lighthearted, but as I said, they've kind of doubled down on that. Despite the murder mystery, it's a bit more goofy. It's just a bit too heavy-handed sometimes. I feel like sometimes the line delivery is a little bit, like, questionable, but it's not like I'm out of the show. Like, I'm still thoroughly enjoying the whole Justice Society of America side of things. I want to see what happens with Cameron Marquand next episode, because next episode seems to be quite a power-revealing episode for him and Courtney and whatnot. So interested to see where things go. Very interested to see where this murder mystery ends up, especially with Mr. Bones, what's going on with Helix, if there's any Infinity Inc. stuff. I read some of your guys' comments. What about Jade's brother and how he was under Mr. Bones' care at one point in time, as revealed last season, and that could be a part of the green energy that the Shade had when he was like shading out last episode. So there's a lot of theories to work with here, because you could argue Jade's brother, Todd, could be like some monstery green energy thing now. I don't know. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. Would really appreciate a like if you're enjoying the content here on the channel. Share it as well, because there's a lot of people apparently who don't know Stargirl was even released. As always, the links, if you want to follow me a little bit more, are in the description down below. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you members of the JSA in the next video. Goodbye.